Hi, everyone. It is important that if you have a meaningful amount of Bitcoin, you have it in your own self custody where you control it. Personal experience, I just got off the phone with the sort of special support line of a global cryptocurrency company. It's one of the probably top five in the world. I will not tell you who it is. But let's just say it's, probably one of the top five in the world, where some of my Bitcoin has been locked up for months now with me not able to get access to it. This is Bitcoin that I bought for a nonprofit, one of my nonprofits that I run. And I created an account on this cryptocurrency exchange for that nonprofit. Everything went fine. I bought Bitcoin. Everyone was happy. And it's been sitting there a couple years. Well, it's up 500%. It's worth five times what I paid for it. I paid for it at $22,000 a coin. We're up at 106,000 a coin. So I've whatever that is, 100% return. So 500% return on that money. And I now want to start giving that money away to some charitable organizations because that was the entire point. The problem is those funds are locked. The account, the cryptocurrency exchange will not let me send the Bitcoin off of their platform. They will allow me to liquidate it so I can sell the Bitcoin into US dollars, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it as Bitcoin. My goal is to keep it in Bitcoin, not to liquidate it. So they'll let me liquidate it, but they will not let me send it off of their platform. After jumping through a bunch of hoops for a bunch of months, they told me if I created a new account on their platform, that the new account would not have the same restrictions as the old account because they claim that the problem is that the old account was never approved as a business slash nonprofit account. And because it never got the final stamp of approval, uh, they can't allow me to send the funds off of the account. So I created a new account. It took about 6 weeks, which was a ridiculously long period of time to create an account on anything. Anyway, it took about 6 weeks. It cost $1,000. This cryptocurrency exchange is currently requiring you to put a $1,000 non-refundable deposit to even allow you to apply for a business or nonprofit account. So I put up $1,000 out of my own pocket. I created the account. So the brand new account is sitting there. It's sitting there, brand new accounts ready to go, fully unlocked. Everything's good. But now I have to get the Bitcoin from the old account that's locked to the new account. Well, you might think send the Bitcoin, but they have sends restricted on the old account. So I can't send the Bitcoin from the old account to the new account. Now, you are probably never going to run into all of this yourself because if you haven't tried to create a business account, first of all, I would never create a business account with this cryptocurrency exchange based on my experience with this cryptocurrency exchange. But again, I'm not going to tell you which one it is. Anyway, so you would think send the Bitcoin. Well, I can't send the Bitcoin. So I decided to liquidate some of the Bitcoin, wire the funds from the old account to the new account because they both are on the same cryptocurrency exchange, and the wiring instructions are the same except for the account number. So I'm like, great. This is stupid. I'm gonna have to pay buy and sell fees, which are really low, so that's fine, whatever. But so I liquidated the Bitcoin. I wired the funds to the cryptocurrency account on the same exchange. But apparently, and they never told me that, apparently you can't send, or they won't let you wire funds from one account on their exchange to another account on the same exchange. Because every time I try to wire funds, I set up the wiring instructions, I liquidate the Bitcoin, I send the US dollars to the account at the same cryptocurrency exchange. Every time I do that, the account it rejects the wire transfer, returns the funds to my account, and then it deletes the wiring account that I sent to. Normally, when you set up a wire transfer account, it stays there for you to use it in the future. But at this cryptocurrency exchange, if you try to wire money to an account, it'll let you create it. It will look like it works, but the money will actually get returned to you. And then when it detects that you tried to wire money to an account at the same bank on the same cryptocurrency exchange, they auto delete the account, or sorry, the wiring instructions from your account to try to keep you from doing it again. So I'm like, okay, this nonprofit, I could jump through a bunch of hoops to try to wire the US dollars to a bank account and then send it from the bank account back to the same cryptocurrency exchange, literally bounce it to a US dollar bank account, back to the cryptocurrency exchange to the account that's unlocked. But all of that's insane. I should not have to do that. It's crazy. So I just spent 45 minutes or whatever it was on the phone with this cryptocurrency exchange. Yesterday, or over the weekend, I spent, I don't know, I guess it was Friday. I spent like, I don't know, an hour and a half. It was a really long time. This time it was shorter. I don't know, 25 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever it was. And they were like, well, look, to unlock your account, we're going to need to ask you some questions. I said, well, I'm here live. I've been trying to unlock this for months. I'm here live. Can I answer the questions? They were like, no, we need them in writing. I'm like, okay, finally, they're going to ask me some questions. I'm going to answer the questions, and then they'll unlock my account. So I wait on the phone with the tech support rep of the sort of VIP, special support line until the email arrives. And so then we say our goodbyes and I hang up. And then I look at the email, and the email is ridiculous. The email is ridiculous. It says, explain why you created this account. Well, I've already explained that to them in writing multiple times. They've asked me that same question multiple times. The second question is someone asking you, did someone ask you to create this account? No, it's my account. It was my idea. I created it of my own free will. So I explained again, because they've asked me the same question like multiple times now. I explained, no, I created the account. Then the next question is explain who you are sending Bitcoin to. So I explain again, because they've asked me this question multiple times already. I'm sending it to me. I'm sending it to myself. I'm sending it to I'm sending it to me in the flesh. I am sending it to other cryptocurrency accounts that I control. 100% my accounts. I am trying to send Bitcoin from myself to myself. I am not being scammed. I am trying to send Bitcoin to myself. And they're like, is anybody asking you to send it? No, 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 1,000 times. Next question. Again, every one of these questions they've asked multiple times before, and I've answered them in writing multiple times before. Next question. Does anybody have access to your cryptocurrency accounts other than you? No, I've answered the question a bunch of times. I am the only one who has access to any of these accounts. These are my accounts. Please, please, please let me either send a Bitcoin onto another account on the same exchange that's unlocked, without restrictions, or let me wire money from accounts I control to another account I control on the same exchange. Like, seriously, this is crazy. So those were the questions. The questions is, who are you sending it to? Me. Did anyone ask you to? No. Did, who created the account? Me. What was the purpose? To buy Bitcoin so I could give it away in the future for charitable purposes. I mean, how hard can this be? So at the end of the email, they assure me that within 2 or 3 business days, they will get back to me, which I do not believe because we've been through this a bunch of times. I've answered these same questions a bunch of times. It's absolutely crazy. It's crazy. And it is so frustrating when you don't control your Bitcoin. So what is the moral of the story here? Well, for one, you are unlikely to end up in this situation because it has to do with the fact that I tried to create a business account and then they claim they never approved it as a business account and therefore it's got restrictions on it. So you're unlikely to ever run into that yourself. Second, I would never create a business account on this exchange ever again. It's been an absolute nightmare, ridiculously crazy nightmare, and it costs $1,000. I mean, who charges $1,000 to create an account? I thought companies wanted customers, like tried to get customers. No, apparently you have to pay $1,000 for the privilege of being a customer. And then next up, what is the moral of all of this story? A BitKey, BITKEY.world. I am not sponsored. I do not get anything from them or anyone else. Buy a BitKey because you will never encounter this problem. A BitKey literally can be a business bank account. Like I've checked the legal paperwork. I've gotten the lawyers to check it out, all that. You can have an actual little BitKey device, and that is your business Bitcoin bank account. Now, you still need ways to get into and out of Bitcoin. And the people I've talked to who have had a good experience with a business account have done that with either River or Strike. So I know it's possible to have a high functioning business Bitcoin account because I know people at Strike and at River that have had a very good experience with having a business account at Strike or River. In this case, again, I'm not going to say the name of the cryptocurrency exchange, but it's been insane. It's been absolutely insane. And if BitKey existed at the time I created the account, I would have moved the funds to BitKey. The problem is BitKey was released in what was it? March of 2024. And so I bought all the Bitcoin that's in this account back in 2022 when Bitkey did not exist. At the time, the only ways to take Bitcoin into your own self custody were things like Ledger and Trezor. And for a variety of reasons I've gone into on other videos, those struck me as too complicated for my purposes for the nature of the account I had. The nature of the account, it was a business account that I was using for nonprofit purposes. I just thought it would be easier to keep it on an exchange for, accounting and audit purposes. Turns out, no, it's just as easy. All you have to do is keep track of the transaction ledger, which Bitkey does for you. So if Bitkey existed at the time I created this account, I would have created the account, bought the Bitcoin, and transferred it to Bitkey. Done. Simple. In the military, they always said, I served 6 years in the Mississippi Air National Guard. So I went to basic training in the military at Lackland Air Force Base in Texas, and I did all that sort of stuff. They were constantly, the training instructors, the TIs, were constantly yelling, crap or get off the pot. Like, if you're in the bathroom, you need to be doing something or get out of the bathroom. And the thought crossed my mind as I was dealing with trying to get this Bitcoin unlocked. It's the same on an exchange. Buy or sell Bitcoin or get it off the exchange. Like if your Bitcoin is on an exchange and you're not actively buying or selling, the question is, why is it not in Bitkey? Now, if you're using something like a debit card to buy or to buy stuff with Bitcoin, well, then you don't have a choice. The Bitcoin has to be on the exchange in order to use the debit card. So totally fine in that situation. Great. But if you're using an exchange to store your Bitcoin for the long haul, the question is, why is it on an exchange for that? It should not be on an exchange if you're using it for storage. Bitcoin cryptocurrency exchanges are called exchanges because you're supposed to be exchanging something when you're using them. If you're sitting on it, it should be in Bitkey. If you're exchanging it, it should be on an exchange. If you're using a debit card to spend it, well, of course, it has to be on an exchange for that purpose too. But in this case, the Bitcoin I bought for this organization back in 2022, I knew I was not planning on using it for a couple years. And if Bitkey had existed at that time, I would have moved it to to Bitkey, because why would I keep it on an exchange if the purpose is to hold it for the long term until I was ready to start making donations with it, which I am now, in small parts. I hope it'll last a long time, but I'm ready to start making small donations. So as soon as I get this thing unlocked, it's going straight on Bitkey. Like, it's crazy. Bitkey will never give you these headaches. I mean, in Bitkey, you control your Bitcoin. If you want to send it, you send it. There is nobody in the world with Bitkey that is asking you questions. They are not asking you, what is it for? Why do you have it? Is it really you? Are you being scammed? Like, nobody's asking those questions. If you want to send your Bitcoin, you send your Bitcoin. It is that simple with Bitkey. So this is the story of why I wish Bitkey had existed in 2022. Why, if it had existed, I would have immediately wired the funds to this cryptocurrency exchange, bought Bitcoin, and as soon as it hit, like as literally as soon as the conversion happened, I would have moved the Bitcoin to Bitkey. As they said in the military, crap or get off the pot, right? Like I would have only had those funds on a centralized exchange, a centralized cryptocurrency exchange, long enough to convert them to Bitcoin. Once I did that, they would have been sucked off into Bitkey, and the world would have been a better place, and I would not have spent the last 6 or 8 weeks dealing with this absolute insanity of having Bitcoin that I can see but I can't touch because it's locked in some infinite loop of eternal questions that I've already answered before. So buy yourself a Bitkey. It's super easy to use. I've released multiple videos, including the video with my sister Christina, who got the thing set up in less than 6 minutes, starting with absolute zero knowledge, knowing absolutely nothing. She had the Bitkey fully up and running and configured in less than 6 minutes. You can do the same. And if you're like, it's just too intimidating, I'm just not sure, then do this. Buy yourself a Bitkey and just sit on it. Just stick it in a closet for when you are ready for it. But at least buy yourself a Bitkey so that if you start having problems like I'm experiencing, you can at least, you've already got the Bitkey. It's already in your possession. They're not going to be sold out. Like just buy a Bitkey, because having Bitcoin that you control is one of the main benefits of Bitcoin, that you control it. And nothing reminds you how valuable it is to control something than when you've lost control of it. And in this case, this is not my primary Bitcoin, all that sort of stuff, because that's already in my own custody. It's just this nonprofit account that I thought was going to be too much of a headache to move into self custody because BitKey didn't exist. And if BitKey had existed, problem would have been solved, but it didn't. So now I'm in this infinite loop. So buy yourself a BitKey, bitkey.world, bitkey dot WORLD. It's $150. It'll be the best $150 you've ever spent. Move whatever Bitcoin you don't need in the near term over to BitKey, which for most people is probably 70 to 90% of the Bitcoin they have. They're probably not planning on using in the near term. It's more sort of long-term savings. So whatever it is, 70%, 90%, whatever that number is, move it over to BitKey and it will be in your control, in your custody, and you're never going to get locked out. Your account's never going to be frozen. You're never going to be asked an endless parade of questions that you have already answered just to try to get access to your Bitcoin. It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. It's yours. Why am I going through this insanity? It's crazy. Anyway, buy yourself a BitKey. This is a full-throated, not sponsored endorsement. I get zero money from telling you to buy a BitKey. Buy BitKey because it's awesome and it puts your Bitcoin in your control. And that is very powerful and one of the main benefits of Bitcoin. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.